All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is, I would say, the final Pocket Change market report for the month of August. Of course it is, because it's August 31st, you silly treasure hunters out there. But yeah, we have a pretty good lineup of coins. We're going to just check out and see what people are selling out there that they found in going through massive amounts of coin. Coin roll hunting is another big activity people like to do to look for some of these. And of course, cherry picking the local coin shops and shows is another great way to add to not only your collection, but to also resell, in hopes of making some sort of nice little pile of cash. And again, this is the second time I'm going to say this. These are generally coins that you could sell effectively online. A lot of these, you're going to have a hard time selling locally at a coin shop, only because most coin shops and dealers, they don't like to deal with errors and varieties. To them, it's a little bit minor in some way. It takes away from their business when they have to, take pictures and do all that great stuff just so they could sell these. But it opens up a pretty good door for a lot of people that really want to do this and do really well at it. I do it myself, do really well. I actually have a few listings of mine that's on the list that, for today. And we're beginning to see a market that it's starting to open up a little bit. As we head into the fall months. This is generally the time of year where business really begins to pick up, and this is no exception. All the coins that you're seeing today are from within the last 24 hours. Yeah, pretty crazy. All from the last day. Usually when I do these reports, like over the summer, it's sales ranging all the way up to like 3 to 4 days. This one is 24-hour period. A lot of activity going on. And then most importantly, the coins are not graded. Why spend all the extra money to grade a coin through PCGS and NGC when really the coin will sell itself? And that's the beautiful part about errors and varieties. So now let's go ahead and check and see what's been going on, what's been selling, what's been hot, and what's been not. Although I don't think I have too many of the nots. All right, let's go ahead and jump right in. Sorry about that. My bad attempt at a pun this morning for the last day of the month isn't working out too well. I think the heat got to my brain. But, sometimes grade condition doesn't mean a whole lot. Talk to any expert in the field of errors, and they'll tell you, well, sometimes grade, doesn't really play a role in the scarcity of a coin. This particular one right here, I would say, kind of fits that role. I mean, it is a dirty, copper-coated zinc-in, which is our least favorite. So all the more reason why you should just sell this thing, especially in this condition. 1985D Lincoln Memorial Cent has a curved clip. Also has the requisite Blakesley effect that's easy to see on the obverse of the coin. Not much else to talk about here. This is a really kind of bottom-dwelling kind of error in U.S. Numismatics. This one only sold for $5.10, but, what's the compromise here? You keep this nasty old thing with crud and corrosion, or you go ahead and get yourself a $5 bill. I would say the latter is probably the best course of action here. All right, well, it's one extreme to another, and I'm happy to talk about this coin. 1978 Eisenhower Dollar is a good-looking specimen here. I mean, it looks like just your run-of-the-mill Ike dollar, right? The front of the coin looks to be just a shade kind of like off-center. Some would even say misaligned dies. But really, what we have here is a partial tilted collar. So you can see on this edge photo where only half of the reading has been minted on the edge here, and that's all a result of a tilted collar. The collar actually keeps the entire coin in place during the striking process. And furthermore, the collar is its own die. It's the actual piece of the press that holds the reading on there. So as the coin's being minted, and assuming that the actual collar is set in place like it's supposed to, the coin will enlarge it enough so that way it will press the reeds into the edge. But in this particular case, we have this one here. Some would even say it's a little bit of a railroaded kind of edge. You know, I've heard a bunch of different types of terminology for this, but a partial collar is definitely what this one is. Eisenhower Dollar errors, quite scarce. All right, and that's probably the big reason why this one ended up selling for $71.62 with 9 bids. Another one to keep an eye out on, especially for you avid Kennedy half-roll hunters out there that's really only looking for the silver. You might be passing up a gem. 1972 D Kennedy half dollar right here is nothing tremendous, you know. From a grade standpoint, it looks just like an average circulated coin. However, we do know that there are some abraded die varieties on these coins, which means an over-polishing effect on there. And when this particular case happens, you get things that are softened up quite a bit, like in this case, the tail feathers and that right chicken leg looking thing on the eagle there. But also the initials have been wiped away on this die before the coin was struck. And this is a very common occurrence that occurs on early 70s Kennedys and even into the 80s. Definitely something to look out for. There is fringe interest in these particular coins. This one right here sold for $20. And if you were going to compare what $20 can get you in silver, I mean, why would you not want to pull this out and resell it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But if the market and if people online are paying that kind of money for it, why not, right? All right, so this is pretty neat. Our first, I would say, lot of this week's PCMR, it's going to be a dollar bill and a 5. The $5 bill is a little bit older, and so is the 1. So each one has minor errors. Okay, the $5 bill you can see has a pretty noticeable ink smear on that left margin there. That's something that was actually quite common back in the day. But on the $1 bill, we have a little bit of an insufficient inking process there right on the serial numbers. So as opposed to selling each one individually, which you could very well do and probably do okay on, the seller opted to go ahead and sell it as a 2-note set. So with that being said, this pair sold for $34.49. I also want to add that the notes look mighty crispy, like they were found very early on after they were produced. It's been quite some time since we talked about this coin, but let's go ahead and revisit the 2021 Lincoln Cent with the retained die break obverse. This is, again, one of the most tremendous errors that have been discovered here in the last few years. This one, again, made some waves last year. Of course, you guys saw my roll hunt of this thing and ended up with a pretty nice little grouping of them. But yeah, where we at price-wise on this? We do know that they've come down a little bit, especially in light of the recent discoveries of the Wilma Mankiller nasty, you know, retained cuds, which, by the way, we have more pricing updates on that coin this week. But this one, yeah, it's still being sought out, you know, in especially nicer condition, like really nice BU reds. This example sold for $379, and that's with 11 bids. So there was quite a bit of activity, still a lot of interest in one of the major blunders of the U.S. Mint in quite some time, and I couldn't be any more pleased. Check your silver. Again, some of the things that look quite minor or might look damaged might actually be more than that. So this 1923 piece dollar is just a regular circulated piece dollar. You know, you would go to a coin shop and see these for about $20 in an assortment, you know, of other 90% silver. But one eagle-eyed collector ended up finding this example with a strike through right on the obverse. You know, it goes from the rim right into good old Lady Liberty's nose. This is actually a strike through that I would say is probably a detached reading. It has that shape and kind of like that dot kind of looking almost like a bracelet, you know, type of strike through. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's not damaged. I can tell you that, because it doesn't have the buildup of normal damage. Like if the coin was scratched, you would see the material of the coin pushed over to the sides. This one is not. This one is definitely struck through. $78 is where this one ended up at. So it's a great way to make some money, is just by going through silver, because there's a lot of these type of things that exist out there, along with a myriad of different varieties as well. So we got some U.S. Mint packaging errors. So this is actually a 1970 mint set, and the Denver mint set has the red stripes, that's on top, but also there is a Philadelphia set as well. So it comes with a Denver and Philly. But the packaging errors aren't really mint errors, even though they occur at the mint during the packaging process. However, someone decided to put two 1970'S Lincoln cents. So it's missing the 70p Lincoln that's supposed to be in this Philadelphia set right here, but it's got two S Mint coins. So, yeah, I mean, you know, don't listen to all the hubbub about how packaging errors aren't anything, because this one ended up selling for $42.95, which is roughly 4.3 times what a mint set would normally go for on the secondary market. So hey, why not cash in? Here's a really nice example of a 2001 Lincoln Memorial cent. It's off center by about 30%, somewhere around there. It's a very attractive looking coin, and this one sold for $28.99. This is about as good as you're going to get for this particular coin, grade wise. The amount of off-centerness to it, and the date is quite nice as well. Well, here's the first in of two Wilma Mankiller errors. This is, of course, a more advanced one that everybody's looking for. It's got the combination obverse, retain, cud, die break, or pre-cud, and then on the reverse you have that phenomenal crack that goes and spans maybe about 60% of the way through the coin. Again, we haven't seen an example where the crack had gone all the way across to rim on this. Don't know if that exists, but it's going to be interesting to see if it is. This particular example right here ended up selling for $407 with 29 bids. This was actually an overnight sale. If you're going to end up selling your coins, make sure you sell your coins so it ends in the middle of the day, guys, not at like 3 o'clock in the morning. This is, again, you know, going to be the end result, a much lower than expected value on the coin, where others have sold between $600 to $800. This one had to settle for a measly $407. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still quite a bit of money. But yeah, there was definitely a little bit left on the table there. By the way, that's with 29 bids. So this was organically bid up to 407. All right, so here's a couple of the coins that I had, and I actually talked about these last night, and there you go, they ended up selling. So we have a 54S RPM. This is RPM number 4, if I remember right. And it's pretty nice. It's got the secondary S punched north of the primary. It sticks out like a sore thumb. Coin's in really nice shape. This is one I sold for $10. And I also had the good old 56D over D RPM as well. This is the FS501, also RPM number 1 in the online files. And I sold this one for a cool little $20 bill. Considering that I paid 4 cents for each of these coins, because I got them in a bulk wheat cent lot for my local LCS, I'd say I did pretty well. But now I'm completely out of inexpensive varieties to sell you guys. So I might have to reload here before the Labor Day weekend. I'm actually going to be gone for a few days. So yeah, the next time that you see me, well, probably be this afternoon, but after Thursday, yeah, I won't be around. So I'm going to try and put up a few more of these in case you guys are interested. I actually have like a full roll's worth of 56D over Ds, and they're all in various different types of grades, and I'll price them accordingly. Yeah, a little self-promotion never hurts. I mean, shoot, if you got the YouTube channel, might as well do it, right? I don't sell memberships or anything like that, so at the very least, come check out my my eBay store. And yeah, definitely have more coins on there. All right, there's a little bit of a close-up. Again, one of the strongest RPMs that you will encounter. It's a consummate cherry picker's guide favorite for a lot of hunters. All right, so again, condition really doesn't matter too much because we have this pretty well corroded 51D Lincoln here with a curved clip. All right, where did we end up seeing this one? Oh yeah, that 85D at the very beginning of the video had a clip like nearly in the same spot. So this one sold for $14.27. Again, is it a matter of would I rather keep it or sell it? Well, given its condition, I'd probably unload it and take the $14. Here's another one too from the same seller. This time is 65. Really nice condition, unlike the previous coin. Sold for $12.97. So good sale there. All right, so here's the ultimate twist of irony. We have a star note, which is normally reserved for replacing, you know, just beat up other notes that were printed and had printing issues. So this star note is miscut. I mean, that could be any more obvious, right? So yeah, I mean, this is not supposed to be seen on star notes. But this $1999 bill has all that in a bag of chips. This is actually a really cool piece here. I saw this. I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have bought that. So this one sold for $64. You know, it's just, yeah, that's any sort of star note error has quite a bit of value because of the irony aspect of it. So there you go. So here's the other Wilma Mankiller. Unfortunately, the pictures were so bad that this was the best picture I could find out of the like 8 or 9 that was on the listing. Again, if you're gonna sell anything online, coins, currency-wise, make sure you take a full obverse and full reverse photo of your coin, along with any close-ups. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's gonna do you a lot of good. Now, in this particular case, people knew exactly what it was. I mean, you have that pretty phenomenal crack on the reverse there, and oftentimes it will have the obverse retained cut as well. They're always paired together. I haven't seen one where it's just the crack on the reverse and nothing on the front. $700, all right, which goes to show you the wild volatility of the sales of these things. Although I will say there hasn't been more of these available currently than there is now. Considering that it is still a new quarter, there's going to be more of these that are going to be found. But, you know, it's going to take about probably 6 months to a year before we begin to see these things dwindle on the secondary market. And I don't know if we're ever going to reach $1,000 on these things like I had prophesized, I guess. So, you know, again, we'll see what happens during the holidays if these things begin to dry up, and, you know, that might play some sort of a role in the values of these if they begin to go back up. But we'll see. I don't know. It's a really cool quarter, and it's big money. If you're looking to find something that's going to make a difference financially, this is the coin to look out for today in your change. All right, so yeah, we had a few of these coins, defective planchets. So they could be like ragged clips, they could be laminations and things of that nature, strike throughs. Maybe not strike throughs, but laminations definitely are under that generic planchet defect kind of moniker. All sold, I believe, by Hartsville Coins. We've highlighted a number of their listings before. So how about a 30S Buffalo with an apparent lamination on the obverse there. This one sold for $19.99. We also have this beautiful 1940 Lincoln here with more lamination issues, actually on both sides of the coin. Very attractive. Another cool $20 bill, so make sure you're pulling these aside, irrespective of the actual condition. This one has carbon spotting on the obverse. Here's another one here too, but this is a pair of Liberty V nickels. So we have both coins, again, defective planchets with laminations and stuff. Ended up selling this pair for $24.99. So the first picture shows the actual lamination on their respective sides of the coin, and then the backs are pretty well cleaned and circulated. And then there was also a pair of Lincoln Wheaties with lamination issues on both sides, or the reverses of each coin. So we had a 23S. They are both 23S's. This pair also sold for $24.99. So you see, guys, just from a few listings, you can make $100. You know, it's as easy as that. And there was also a 1945. This one is pretty cool. Okay, yeah, another defective planchet, but you don't see anything on the front or back of the coin. But when you look at the edge, yeah, you guessed it. This is a clamshell lamination. That's what that split is. You could really, help it along and split the coin in half if you wanted to, but actual error folks, purists, they don't like that. Keep it as a clamshell. You're still going to realize the same amount of money either way. It's not like it's going to double the money, as soon as you split it, because people will look in the middle and say, well, it's really like minty red in the middle. What happened? So it'll definitely raise a lot of red flags if you do that. So this particular coin, again, another $20 bill. So it's just more money piling on top of more money. All right, so we've seen some high leaf Wisconsin quarters sell here in the last few weeks. How about a low leaf? This one is actually in pretty nice shape. They're all Denver Mints, 2004D Wisconsins. This one has the little bit of a extra engravement line there that creates what looks to be a low leaf on the corn there. But these, as you guys know, and I like repeating this because it's fun facts, these were distributed in the southern region of the U.S., primarily in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And that's where a great, vast concentration of these were discovered during its day. And even to this day, people are still finding them from that area, although some of them have migrated across the U.S. So this coin right here, in its current condition, it's in a holder. So if you're seeing like these little scratches, that's actually on the plastic holder. Sold for $81 with 5 bits. Great looking coin. Here's a 55 Lincoln wheat cent. It looks like a strike through, right? Like you're seeing weakness on the left side of the coin, but you also see it on the reverse as well. This is actually a tapered planchet. So the planchet was rolled thin on one side of the coin before it was even struck. So it's not going to strike up all of the devices on there if the coin or the planchet is thinner on one side. In addition, the coin is much lighter weight. A standard Lincoln cent bronze composition is 3.11 grams. This one weighs in at 2.5. So pretty cool. I love these. This one sold for $14.45. Not particularly rare. You can find them in varying degrees, and you just have to look for that weakness and make sure that the coin wasn't smashed post-mint. You could see it really easily if you see it on both sides and you have a fully intact rim on that area. That's kind of like one of the telltale signs that you have a legitimate tapered planchet error. Almost newish, 2018 Lincoln Shield cent. This is a good looking coin right here. And again, this is where having a magnifier is going to come in handy. If you do not have a magnifier, please invest the $6 to $8 and get one. I have Amazon links below in the description box. Again, more self-promotion, probably unnecessary, but I'm sure a lot of you have, like a 10 times power magnifier, but it's an absolute needed tool to be successful in cherry picking. So we have a strike through, and we have a spiked head die crack that actually forms into a much nicer crack going into Lincoln's skull area. The strike through is what you see here. Pretty nice. This one sold for $4.29 with 4 bids. Pretty low value, and again, most spike heads are, regardless of what date it is. But again, it's more than a penny, that's for sure. Here's one of the more scarcer off-center strike Statehood Quarters that I've come across. This is a 2002D Ohio. Can't remember the last time I've seen one of these. It might have been never. I don't know. But that would explain the abnormally large sell price at $59. These are being collected currently by date and by state and mint mark. So it's a pretty challenging little set to put together, but again, when a rare state comes across the auction block, whether it's on eBay or somewhere else, yeah, these things I've seen get kind of out of hand. Sometimes $100 to $200 for a raw example, but just to let you know, that is kind of the market with these quarters. Well, Coins and Cards had to throw up another beast mode type coin. And just within the last day, I mean, they have been selling some super firepower coins. 1857 Flying Eagle. This is also termed as the obverse of 1856, and we'll get into that here in a second. It's FS401A, and this one looks to have that repunch date as well. So what makes an 1857 Flying Eagle an obverse of 1856, which you guys know is a proof-only strike, very low mintage? Well, it has everything to do with this letter O and of. It's much skinnier compared to a regular 1857 die, and it's a little bit crudely made or punched or whatever. The O is a little bit kind of like out of shape, I guess, kind of like me. But yeah, the O is skinnier on these, and that's how you're going to differentiate this one to the 1857 normal obverse die. Very clean coin. I guess there's some mint luster in the protected areas of this coin. Very expensive. Sold for $776.77 with 27 bids. Is a just truly marvelous looking type coin. Our main feature coin of the week has to be one of the strongest die clashes I have seen on a nickel in quite some time. This is a 1983, ladies and gentlemen. Philadelphia struck coin, of course, and you can see the die clashes on not only the reverse, where it's the strongest, but you can also see the clashing of Monticello on the obverse as well in the field area. So what makes the clash? Well, it's real simple. If you could imagine the presses operating without a planchet in the striking chamber, the hammer and anvil die will make contact with each other, therefore transferring their respective designs to each of the dies. So when it strikes other coins, after they've figured out why, a planchet was left out, or maybe it just skips one, it's going to imprint everything, obverse and reverse stuff, onto the coin, and that's kind of like the end product that you see here. Clashes always incredibly sought after. The stronger they are, the more money that comes your way. This one sold for $46.05 with 7 bids. Wow, that's tremendous. And from the same seller, we also have this phenomenal looking nickel that was struck through a cap die as well. The cap was kind of wrinkly at this point, so it's a very late stage piece. This one sold for $70.66 with 10 bids. Beautiful looking high-end example. And again, we need more obverse and reverse full images. This one did not have it, but it has relevant photos of all the stuff that matters. It's a 1981 Lincoln set with a pretty big cut die break on the obverse that you see there, right over the motto. They actually call this the godless set because the cut is over the word God. All right, so Anyways, this one right here ended up selling for $82.78 with 8 bids. Yeah, we're ending it off here with some pretty spicy coins of the week. So here's another lot. This was the big time performer of the week, I would say. So we have a 3 coin lot, one of each of a Lincoln, a Jefferson nickel, and a Roosevelt dime. They're all off center struck by some degree. The nickel and the dime have full dates. The nickel's a 99p. The Rosie is a 96p. But all 3 of these coins ended up selling for $85. And that's with 23 bids. Yeah, I don't think there's any opportunity or room to make money here. The 99p nickel I know is quite scarce as a standalone date that people would need for a date set of off-center nickels. So that might be one of the big drivers of this one. That the Lincoln cent, there's no date on there, and you know it's just okay. It's got some weird kind of like residue on the obverse as well. But yeah, $85 is where this one ended up at. Now, this is what a coin struck through a very late stage cap die would look like. The cap on that die is razor thin, so all of the regular design elements of the die has pushed through this very thin cap die. So you have like a full date, a mint mark, Liberty, and for the most part, In God We Trust, you could see on there. So if you find a coin that, you know, a little bit older that looks like molten chocolate on one side, that's probably what you have here. And you got to make sure that the reverse is like a really nice, strong hammered strike. All right. So when you compare those two on one coin, I mean, it's going to be like polar opposites, and that's what you want to see. This one right here ended up selling for $73, guys, with 8 bids. This is just a really gnarly piece. And speaking of gnarly, this one, I saw this one, I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm at all right. 1969 Canadian cent. This is a flip over double struck example. All right, so you can even see a full date right here on QE2's neck. You can see the maple leaves in the fields here. This is such a pretty coin, all right? I don't particularly care for the actual toning on this one. It looks very unnatural, but I don't care. This thing is just awesome. So this one ended up selling in US dollars at $238.21. I've seen similar Lincoln cents sell for a lot more than that, and I know Canadian error collectors, you know, they pay a ton of money for certain coins. I'm surprised that this one only sold for what it did. This looks to be like a $500 coin and up, but I think because of the absence of some stronger doubling or double struckness of the reverse here with the date, might have played a role in that, but just a really supreme specimen. All right, we got a couple more coins left. How about 1981 P Jefferson Nickel? It's off center by about 10%. Yes, those are scratches. They certainly are scratches. We see them quite frequently. I think that's for people trying to test to see if it's a legit nickel. I mean, you know, coming across an off-center strike, you know, you begin to wonder, is it the real deal? So they'll scratch at it to make sure that it's not chocolate on the inside, I guess. But very tough date. You know, say what you want to say about the damage. It's still sold for $53.49, which means there is a scarcity play here with this date. It's not one that I come across too often doing these PCMRs. So kudos. I mean, that's great sale, even with the damage. All right, and then finally, we're going to talk about a note that is currently out there for the taking, although not as readily available as they used to. I remember these things were being found left and right back in the late 90s, but this is a 1996 $20 bill. It features the newly revised, newly redesigned, I guess, like full large head Andrew Jackson portrait and then all the other stuff. But something's missing here, and it's that green seal that's over the word 20 on the right side there. The note is circulated. I actually looked at it. It's got some soft edges. It's got a pretty faint centerfold. You can see it right here. But yeah, that green seal is not there. And that was a common thing back during this time. People were finding them. They were selling for, they got down to about 80 to 100 bucks at one point. I would say probably 5-10 years ago. But now we're not seeing nearly as many of these on the secondary market. So this one right here sold for $245. It kind of helps that the note is in really nice shape. All right. Again, condition plays still a huge role in the value of these things. So that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this week, the last one of August. The next time you'll see a PCMR from myself will be next Wednesday. All right. I'm actually going to take a little time off and recharge the batteries for Labor Day. Hope you guys don't mind. So a little thing to kind of close it on. My daughter told me this morning before I dropped her off at school, and I absolutely loved it. I remember seeing it in a movie as well. But yesterday was history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today's a gift, and that's why they call it the present. So whatever you guys do, hopefully you guys do it well. And, keep on going for the goals. Make it less of a dream and make it actually a reality. So I wish you guys the best in all of your hunting endeavors. Hopefully this video gives you a little bit of inspiration to keep on hunting, because there are some big money coins out there. Whatever you need, the universe has it. Always does. Yeah. I know, because I found some of those. I'm Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. I shall see you guys next time. And, you guys are wonderful. Take care.